and prepare for Raw. Raw is Senor says I didn't mention Smith. He had to be determined in one of his like Instagram pictures, like people that he hated, like he deadbeat dad, CM Punk, and then it was like to be determined. So yeah. Yeah, Finn isn't long for this world. Tomorrow is pre-recorded, so I gotta see how they set up things for January 6th Raw. Hopefully we get something, because the December 30th is going to be live, so hopefully we'll get some forward momentum for that Raw. But I am WriterMaven. Thank you for joining my chat. I'm just here. Like I said, this is testing a new setup, a really wonky setup, if you can actually see me right now, but last week or this past Monday's technical difficulties really annoyed me, so I'm trying to figure out something. Let's see if I can do better and get better audio. So hey Marcus. So I want to start off just shooting the shit. There's some things that I do want to bring up. When I posted Rhea Ripley can't continue to lie about the past. Sydney, one of my friends there, brought up a good point that really made me think about why the Rhea Ripley line is bothering me so much. Because the point isn't that the WWE isn't just ignoring Rhea Ripley's past, they're trying to rewrite her past. And like I said in my recent video, like anyone who has been watching Raw for the past 2 or 3 years know good and well that Michael Cole did not warn Rhea Ripley about Dominik. That was so out of left field. Dominik, when Rhea and Dom first interacted, was not someone that Rhea Ripley needed to be warned about. It was Dom who needed to be warned about Rhea Ripley. This version of Dominik, this year, this is probably someone you would warn your daughters about to not to hook up with Dominik. But 2 years ago, nah. And writing this history just so we put this nice spin on Rhea and putting her in a good light is really annoying the fuck out of me. Because there's no reason to lie. And when you're lying like that, that cuts off Dominik's way of actually being able to get his own story out. Like, if anybody's been paying attention to any of his recent interviews, he actually talks about what Rhea did. And when, like, right around Black Blood SummerSlam, he was really talking about what Blood really did. And that can't even get to TV. So you're pretty much taking away Dom's chance to explain his side of things because you want to rewrite it. And that's not fair to Dom or his character. And I'm not down for that. It's the same way where they're saying, well, Rhea's saying, oh, Dom left me for chicken tendies. Like, there was a whole lot more than just Dom leaving her ass for chicken tendies. There's treatment. It was how she treated him. It's just a whole package deal of how she was treating him, Damian was treating him, like even up to now it's been treating Dom. There's a whole lot more nuance than just Dom leaving Rhea for chicken tendies. You can't reduce what happened between Rhea and Dom just to chicken tendies. And Liv calling him daddy. So this rewriting of history is really just, like I said, annoying as fuck. You're taking away Dom's narrative. You're taking away Liv's narrative. Liv can, we could have had the story where I thought of Liv and Dom coming together. You have, especially if they play on that Liv and Dom might have had a thing prior to Rhea getting involved with Dom. You could have played it that way. Dom and Liv kind of had a thing. Maybe they were crushing on each other. Rhea swoops in, gets Dom. And then Liv was dealing with, and maybe Rhea went after Dom just due to what happened between her and Liv. And you could spin it that way. Dom and Liv and Rhea come back together some kind of way. I always thought, you could have them like in NXT, kind of interacting a little bit. They come together. They decide that they don't want to deal with Rhea, and then that starts this whole Liv Morgan revenge tour. You could have had something like that, but now we probably won't get that because it makes Rhea look bad. But why is Rhea being protected this type of way? Drew McIntyre is a justified heel. He has grievances with Bloodline. He had grievances with CM Punk. But he's a justified heel. Nobody is coming around and trying to rewrite Drew McIntyre's history with the Bloodline. And we saw something really interesting this past SmackDown where he was like, I'm not sure if I want to, take your head off or support you in taking down Roman Reigns. And he was conflicted. But Drew McIntyre is a justified heel. Nobody's trying to rewrite his history where, somebody is saying, oh, no, he shouldn't be going after Bloodline. He has all the reasons in the world to go after Bloodline. He has all the reasons in the world to go after Solo. He had all the reasons in the world to go after CM Punk. And even though I like CM Punk a lot more than Drew, and I was more on CM Punk's side, that doesn't negate Drew's side. So how is it that Drew can be set up as the justified heel, but Liv, Dom, and Raquel cannot be a justified heel? Everything, they are justified in how they treated Rhea and how they acted toward Rhea. Rhea was horrible to Dom. Rhea was really horrible to Liv. Rhea was horrible to Raquel. And then it's always, and then they keep digging for stuff where to justify with Rhea, like with Raquel, where they say, well, Raquel did this to me in NXT. Well, you said you burned the hatchet, so were you lying when you said you were burning the hatchet? See, Drew hasn't buried the hatchet with any of the bloodline. So he's not being a hypocrite, even though it's a heel way to be a hypocrite, but he's not being a hypocrite in that kind of way. This is your faith, this so-called faith that they want her to be. And you're being a hypocrite. You buried the hatchet with Raquel, but you can pull up that history to make yourself look better. You're pulling up anything to make yourself look good. And you can't do that. And like I've said, sooner or later, people are going to get tired of the forced narrative of Rhea. It's like right now. Rhea, every time she shows up, is to maximize the pop. I will always say this. If you're going to run out there to say somebody, you're going to get a pop. If you're going to run out there to interrupt somebody, you're going to get a pop. That's a curated pop. And yeah, people are going to cheer. But guess who else was getting cheered that had some bad booking? Cena and Big Dog Roman Reigns. They had the reactions that people say that they wanted. It's reaction. But was it a good reaction? Was it a sustained reaction? Cody Rhodes goes out there now. He's getting the face pop. The face pop. Roman Reigns, right now, he goes out there. He is getting the face pop. With Rhea, yeah, you're going to get a face pop, but are you going to be able to sustain that face pop? Are you, whenever you're in the ring, just keeping repeating the same promo over and over and over again? So they're just pretty much shortchanging Rhea's character herself because they refuse to not let her look bad. She needs to take the love. She needs to be sad. She needs to be able to show that she was betrayed. And it seems like we won't get that. But, like I said, it's just, Rhea's whole character thing is just annoying. Because we could have had so much more. We could have had more story. It could have been more better. We could have had a nice competing women's storyline to compete with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. We could have had that. But now we won't. Or not in the way that could have maximized everything for everybody involved. And like now, with Roman Reigns' face turn, and now looking at SmackDown this past SmackDown with Tiffany. Tiffany seems like she's getting a nice organic face turn. We see how Nia and Candice is treating her. That's a nice organic face turn. She's getting the pops, but are they just allowing Tiffany just to get pops and she does nothing? Is she still acting heelish and still just expecting her to do a face turn and still not do anything to justify that face turn. We see what they're doing with Tiffany. She's getting sympathy. It's similar to how what they did with Bailey. She's getting that sympathy of Mean Girls because a lot of women can relate to that. Even guys too. You can relate to somebody just being straight up mean to you. Where yeah, Tiffany might have came to Nia with not the best of intentions of being her friend, but she thought she was a friend, and now she's getting pushed out to the side. And then by the time Tiffany cashes in, which will be on Nia, she's going to get that face pop, and that can continue her on, and that establishes her as a face. She's not just depending on a face reaction. I saw a comment on Reddit where somebody said, if people were just dependent on reactions from the crowd to determine the face, you would have had Cena turn heel, you would have Roman Reigns turn heel. You see what I mean? Reactions should not constitute like if you're turning face or heel. Like Dom got a chance, but now he's back to getting booed again. You have to put the work in for the face turn. You have to put the work in for a heel turn. Look what happened with New Day. That was work. Rhea is just same character. And now with June 6th, um, um, with this match, I'm really hoping one, they need a stipulation. They need a loser leaves Raw to segue into this. They need a loser leaves Raw stipulation for Liv and Rhea. And I say that because I am 75 to 80% sure, with of course the 20, of course for the 20% to account for Triple H's bullshit. But I am 75 to 80% sure that Rhea is not winning the title on June 6th. I'm going to throw down a gauntlet on that. That's going to be my prediction. She's not winning that. And there's a couple of reasons why I'm saying that. One, Rhea winning leaves her with no story going into WrestleMania. Triple H is going to have to give her a story. But her winning gives her no story. Everybody else on Raw currently is tied up in the Intercontinental Tournament who are potential heels. Nobody else, no other heel but Liv and Raquel have been established. You have Studline or PFC or whoever, but they're not established as a heel. It'll just be another reign like it was in 2023 where she was just to face somebody. So I would have Rhea lose and take her to SmackDown in exchange because SmackDown will need stars. Because if anybody's been watching social media or even of these press releases, it has been Liv and it has been Dom that have been all over Netflix when it relates to advertisements, ads, all kinds of promotion. It has been Liv and Dom. They're not switching to SmackDown. Liv and Dom have been all over that. It's going to be Rhea. And because it's another interesting thing as well, have y'all noticed that Netflix did not have any kind of ad for Rhea? I mean, she's on certain like billings and stuff like that, but the actual ads itself. We have seen an ad for, currently, from what I've seen, we've seen it for Liv, we've seen it for Dom, we've seen ads for Bianca, Naomi, we've seen advertisements for Ludwig, we've seen Ludwig Kaiser, that dude. We've seen advertisements for him. We've seen advertisements for Roman Reigns. We've seen advertisements for LA Knight. I've seen advertisements for Alpha Academy. I've seen advertisements for Mitchin, but notice who's not in any of those advertisements. Rhea. Now, some people want to say, oh, but she was injured during this time. If Rhea is the badass and super important person that they want to put up there with Roman and Cody Rhodes and all them, they would have taken time to get her a photo shoot or promo shoot or whatever they needed to do to get that recorded. If it was important enough, they would have done it. And I don't think this is something they're trying to hide because Roman Reigns is already being advertised for Netflix, and Roman Reigns is the guy. I mean, if you're just I don't think Rhea is as important enough to have somebody to just hold off with an advertisement. I mean, that so and oh yeah, and Senora says and the rest of Jen's Day wasn't promoted for next week too. Raquel was. So Raquel did get an advertisement. So that's what tells me about Rhea is because if Raquel is getting the advertisement, like the actual promo um advertisement and Rhea's not, I don't think you would hold or hide Rhea's promotion. You would have had her up there for that. And so that's my prediction. I don't think Rhea's winning that because, like I said, there's nowhere for her to go. She's not in any of the promotional, and SmackDown needs the talent. And Netflix cannot suck up all the talent. It relates to Judgment Day. I'm still thinking this is going to be a Dominik branded Judgment Day. So I'm thinking Finn gets kicked. Finn only because you can have Finn and then you can kick him over there to SmackDown and then that's just somebody you can have in the upper card. So I think Finn gets kicked. JD, is a chance that JD and Carlito could go with Finn, but I don't really think so because JD has really like in these past couple of weeks have been really questioning Finn. So I think it would be really odd for him to suddenly just be buddy enough with Finn to just go with him willingly. So I think it's more Finn moving on his own. But yeah, that's my prediction. I really think Rhea's win. I would be surprised because I think there's a lot more story with Liv going into WrestleMania as champion than Rhea going into WrestleMania as champion. And for goodness sake, they are not going to put Io in there as the match because both of their reigns sucked ass. Both Rhea and Io's previous reigns sucked ass. And you're going to put them together just to build up for WrestleMania. Io, sorry to say, has limited English, and you need the story um, to carry you into WrestleMania. And I don't think Io has that. Bailey saved that storyline because that had been building for a while, and it was Bailey and Dakota with their English skills that saved that whole storyline going into WrestleMania. It wasn't Io. She's great as a wrestler, but she's not. I don't think she could carry the storyline of WrestleMania could do. Rhea could barely carry a storyline. They depended both of the times they depended really heavily on Dom. And like Bricola says, I don't think they're here today. But Bricolo's always said that, Rhea always needed Dom, and it's being proven because now without Dom, Rhea has nobody to bounce off of. She is stuck. But like Bricola says, she needed Dom and now she is stuck in the women's division. She can't branch out to the men's division anymore. She can't hop around and keep getting that being this uber cool woman that can hang around with the guys. That's Liv now. Liv is the one that can hang around with the guys due to Dom. Rhea can't do that. She is stuck. And it is really showing and it's really showing and it's really exposing why she needed all these people to be around her. Damian too. I'm going to get to him later too because they USA Network posted something really crappy regarding Damian, and I'm going to get to that a little bit later. But she needed all these people to build her up and keep her interesting. The Becky and Rhea match from WrestleMania this year needed Dawn. She won't be able to bounce off of Dawn for WrestleMania. She wouldn't be able to bounce off of Dawn for if they had this Io match for WrestleMania. She won't have anybody to bounce off of. Who's she going to bounce off of? Cardi? Dakota? It's going to be lame. But that's the problem with Rhea's characterization. That's what needs to change. And I am really hoping, I'm saying this as someone, I don't want to hate Rhea. I'm just really annoyed with how the characterizations of her characterization and the favoritism that Triple H shows her and how she's being built up. But I'm really hoping January 6th, she loses. It's a loser leaves Raw. She goes to SmackDown and she can start to rebuild herself. Let her get rebuilt back up. And then if you want to revisit Liv and Rhea in another year or so, fine. But They need to be separated. Rhea needs to get built back up. She needs more layers. She can't just keep, this is my brutality all the way through. It gets boring, especially when we have more interesting women on the roster. And another thing with Rhea is, like, we have the holiday tour coming up. What, this is it next week? Yeah, holiday tour is coming up this week and next week. Holiday tour, where they go to MSG, things like that. Have y'all noticed that she's not wrestling? Like, she did War Games and she's gonna do Dance 6. But she has this limited schedule when everybody else is busting their ass, going international, having all these long term things where they have to turn around and do things like that, and she's not doing it. It's really starting, that's annoying to me, and it's really suspicious. Like, are you still injured? If you're injured, you don't need to be back. You should have been forcing your way back, because it seems like it threw off something. Because Io got the number one contendership. It never was her number one contendership, and now she's gone, kicked down to the Intercontinental title tournament. You see how jacked up that was? Io was the number one contender. That was the only number one contender that we could have got, and she got busted down to Intercontinental. So now she's not wrestling. But look at who's wrestling on the holiday tour. It's Liv, it's Dom, it's all these other people. All these other women too. Naya's getting wrestling. The Judgment Day I think Judgment Day is wrestling too. Tag teams are wrestling. Everybody else are wrestling. But Rhea can't. I mean, Rhea is not a Roman Reigns type of schedule to me just yet. And even Roman Reigns is wrestling a lot more this year than he has been. Like, I don't see an excuse for it other than she's still kind of having nagging injuries. And if that's the point, she should have just stayed off. I'd rather her preserve her health and stay off. She's not in danger of losing her spot due to injury like some of these other women are. I'd rather her stay home. Because now you got Charlotte coming back, Becky's probably coming back. I'm not sure when. We might have Becky on the road to WrestleMania. Same thing with Charlotte. But if you're not wrestling, I mean, and I call that not being fair to other women. Roman Reigns has his reasoning. He had leukemia. He has health issues, but he also carried the WWE on his back for years. Rhea hasn't done that. I don't. That's not a grace. I don't. That's not a grace that I would extend to her just yet. Like, if Cody wanted to ease off on his schedule, I would say that, because he's been busting his ass for the past, what, 2-3 years. He had his injury. He was off. He came back, but he's been busting his ass. He does all the tours. He's doing all the matches. Pretty much all the live events. Cody Rhodes, he's there wrestling. If Cody wanted to pull back and not do as many matches, yeah, cool, I get it. But Rhea, Roman Reigns, she's not. But I say all this to say, um, you know, I'm sure somebody's on the X, they're gonna be like, well, why are you so obsessed with Rhea? Obsession. This is not obsession. This is critique. I'm talking about Rhea because she is surrounding Liv and Dom. She impacts their storylines. I'm a wrestling commentator. I'm going to talk about her ass. I'm hoping that she gets shipped to SmackDown so I don't have to talk about her ass so much anymore. I mean, I will, but not to the point where I am now. But, like, critique is not obsession. And you're going to talk about people. I talk about Roman all the time. I talk about Dom all the time. Liv all the time. I talk about a lot of people. But anyway, let's shift this over to Damian. Because Damian, the USA Network, sent out a nice, really interesting tweet saying, oh, the Damian Priest Revenge Tour is starting with getting the Judgment Day to lose the tag team title. And that tweet post from USA Network got hit so hard by people. Pretty much they were just tearing apart USA Network for cribbing Liv Morgan's Revenge Tour, because, what the heck, you can't think of anything else for the Revenge Tour. And then again with Damian, nobody's really interested in with Damian. Like, okay, the Revenge Tour. It makes no sense. He lost to Gunther. There's no more revenge to have. Yeah, Finn cost him the title at War Games, but he had a chance at Saturday Night Main Event, and he lost it. What revenge tour are we having here? Nobody cares about Damian. There was no pop last week when he came out to prevent Judgment Day to win. There's no pop. He has lost all the face. Any kind of face game Damian has, it is gone. It's just in the ether. Like, they killed it. They went on that prolonged, they tried to use Dom, and it didn't work. Because the audience could see what they were doing. The audience saw that they were trying to use Dom to get Damian over, and it looks like they're going to try and do that again tomorrow. This is a tape show, but I got to see exactly what they do. But um, they tried to use Dom, it backfired on their ass. Now he has nothing. And now they have to try and put him back with Rhea and Finn, where the more interesting feud is with Finn and Dom. Like, why are we going back to Finn and Damian? Finn and Damian should have been, like, it seems like they're trying to wrap something up. And I'm thinking they're trying to wrap up a loose end before this January 6th stuff, because Finn and Damian don't make no sense anymore. It's been Finn and Dom. Why are we going back to Finn and Damian? There's no meat with Damian, along with Rhea. Damian just bulldozed through the Judgment Day, and I'm still tired of his ass being so nigh invincible where he's running over people. Dom could fight Gunther till he was bleeding, but as soon as Damian shows up, he's no selling Dom. That makes no sense. How is it that Gunther can sell for Dom, but not Damian? And that's the problem with his characterization. Why are you no selling stuff? It makes no sense. You are not the Undertaker. I know people call him bisexual Undertaker, but he is not the Undertaker. Undertaker was unique. Undertaker could sell stuff too. He wasn't just impervious to pain. He could take shots, but he could also sell shots. It's like Damian's face turn is killed. But I'm thinking if they wanted to do something, they needed to have. I think they can do like a Shawn Michaels, Diesel, or Kevin Nash thing with Finn when it comes to Dom, because you can do something like Dom taking out Finn and then Damian saving Finn, which solidifies a Finn face turn, and they can, repair that bridge, and then they can focus on Dom a little bit. I could see them kind of doing something like that, because, like I said, I think Judgment Day is just going to be in Dom's image, and they're going to get rid of the no leaders thing, because no leaders was always used by persons that wanted to be the leader, like Rhea, Damian, and Finn. So they'll get rid of no leaders, and then Dom will be installed as a leader because he's earned everybody's respect. That's where I'm thinking it's going to go. So with Damian, I think that he just lost a lot of his face aura, and it shouldn't have been that way. It was going good. He was actually kind of acknowledging his past. He was acknowledging his past a lot more than Rhea was, and that's because Finn was allowed to say things. Finn and JD, when they were talking about Damian in the beginning after SummerSlam, um, they were allowed to say a little bit of the past. It's not like how Dom isn't allowed to say anything regarding Rhea's past. But yeah, I mean, with Damian, that whole USA Network thing, that was just like, why are we creeping off of Liv now? I mean, I know Liv's revenge tour was iconic, but like revenge with Damian, when you pretty much created the whole situation yourself, it's like with Rhea. It's like how she had a brutality tour. You notice how that got dropped really quickly? Rhea Ripley's brutality tour. Like, why are we copying off of people now? So, what else did I want to talk about? There was, let's see, I did talk about Drew, about Rhea, talk about Damian. June 6th. Sorry, what was saying January 6th? We need, actually, let's talk about this coming up Raw. So, I do know, spoiler alert, this is a spoiler alert for Raw. Dom was gonna go, it's gonna be Dom versus Damian, and then the Dom doesn't get pinned, which is always a positive. I'm gonna talk about this more tomorrow because I want to see how they actually set this up. But I'm actually glad that he doesn't get the pin, so that's some progress. But I really want to know why he's getting dumped back to where Damian can just manhandle him again. Like, is Finn like trying to be his demented demon self and just pushing Dom to fight Damian again. Because I could kind of actually see that. Like, maybe, oh, here's something. Because like, in the backstage, we had the backstage reaction of Dom and Liv reacting to Finn and JD losing. And it always sounds like, and it was sounding like Dom and Liv have a plan. It's that plan thing again. Because it's like we need, should we do? I think it was like Liv was saying like, should we do it? And Dom was like, well, we'll have to see because they're planning something again. Like I've always said, the Judgment Day, the planners were always Liv and Dom. It's just that Dom is always thought of as not being able to plan stuff that he gets scoops underneath the radar. So I do think so. It could be like a more of a Liv and Dom planning. Could be because I think this leads into something with the War Raiders again. And like I said, I'm not even sure what they're gonna do with War Raiders again. So I'm kind of glad Dom is out of Dom didn't get pinned, but we'll have to see what happens on Raw tomorrow. What else is there? They talk about. Somebody asked if there's going to be the title change. I said like Liv is not going to lose hers, and I think the only title change is going to be that tribal contest thing. I bet you that takes up at least an hour on Netflix. Seth versus CM Punk. I think CM Punk takes the first one because it's going to be a trilogy like the Drew and CM Punk one. It'll go CM Punk and then Seth, then maybe CM Punk again. Yours says Rhea needs to lose at Raw Netflix, but it's impossible to happen. I think she will, Senor. Like I said, I had to allow for 20% bullshit, but I'm leaning toward Rhea losing that. She kind of needs it, like, because right now Liv is showing a lot of growth in that she's not scared. And I think she's going to be the same person that was running away earlier, and it's not going to be the case. It's going to be Liv being confident in herself. She's going to get that win. I'm not sure if it's going to be totally clean because they always want to protect Rhea for not having a clean pin against her for whatever reason. But it'll be a win for Liv. And like I said, I hope it's like a loser leave ball situation. So, let's see. New York says that the rest of JD didn't get promoted for Netflix too. Raquel did, like I said earlier, but I did see JD and Carlito and Finn. It's a possibility they can go to SmackDown, but I'm thinking it's just going to be Finn, maybe. I mean, Damien's got the advertise. See, that's another thing with as it relates to Rhea too. Like, how is it Damien gets the advertisement but not Rhea? That kind of just leads me that she's moving. Because, like I said, if you're important enough, you'll get the promo for Netflix. If they wanted, if Cody was going to be on there for Netflix, Cody would have had it. But he's okay. Ava says Rhea is not winning the title of the Raw show. I don't care if it's through Netflix win. She'll win it out of PLE. She might, but like I said, I think she needs to spend a lot of time away from the title. She's gonna end up like Charlie Flair, where she just exists for the title, and she doesn't need that. Like I don't want that just where every time she's around it's because of the title. She needs to have her stories outside of the title. It's kind of like how now Charlie is being missed because she's been away from the WWE for a while. Because for the longest time, everybody would know that she would be gone. Then as soon as she comes back, here she is in the title. And it was just exhausting. That doesn't need to happen to Rhea. Senor says, are they going to SmackDown, Finn, JD, and Carlito? I mean, they could pull a La Familia, but it seems like they still putting a lot of into the Judgment Day branding. Judgment Day branding with T-shirts doesn't really necessarily mean anything because they can change things on time. But it just seems like they're kind of unwilling to give up that branding just yet. I mean, they can restructure Judgment Day La Familia, like Judgment Day Black and White, like NWA Bubble Black and White, something like that. New York said, I noticed that Los Garza was promoted for Netflix, separated from the up. I didn't see that, but see, they could be trying to swap tag teams too. Maybe that's why Santos was annoyed when what's his name snitched on Braun regarding Carmelo because Santos was like, "I'm not no snitch." That was actually pretty funny. I love Santos, and I kind of wish Santos and Dom kind of hooked back up a little bit because they have some really good chemistry. With me, and I was really annoyed how Andrade turned at WrestleMania earlier this year. Even before all the Liv stuff, the chemistry between Andrade, Santos, and Dom was really, really cool. So they could be going separated from Legado, but they could be there for Pentagon too, because they do have that little cryptic Zeto Meadow. If anybody saw that on Raw this past week, so that could be for Pentagon. People already kind of predicting that maybe he starts something with the LWO, so maybe Pentagon kind of hooks up with Dom a little bit. That would be interesting. It'll give Pentagon a mouthpiece at least, and then it kind of reunites him with Io as well. If you remember Lucha Underground, Ricolo says, "You notice how Liv's engaged with other women on the roster and goes viral." Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. She gets involved, it goes viral. Dom gets involved, it goes viral. Like the backstage little promo TikTok of Dom and Liv just reacting to Judgment Day losing the tag team title. What was it, in the millions in views? That should tell you how popular they are and that they're not going to separate anytime soon. A lot of people always want to say, "Oh, Liv's going to turn on Dom. She's going to get with Finn." I don't know where that always comes from. They always want to put Liv with Finn because that still doesn't make any sense. They always want to bring up the key card, even though that's been explained and why this needed to be talked about on air because a lot of stuff has been explained regarding the key card and them sneaking like around in April, but it doesn't get on TV. So that is stuff that needs to get on TV that it doesn't, and I've already explained why it hasn't regarding Rhea, you know. But Dom and Liv, just that little interaction between Dom and Liv reacting to Judgment Day losing got over a million. It's like 2 million, something like that. It's a lot of views. So um, that's your pairing though, and that's why Netflix is throwing their hat in with Dom and Liv because they are promoting. I mean, they this past Monday they got brought back to do additional promo work for Netflix. Additional. So while everybody else got the promo packages that we saw for Netflix, it was Dom and Liv that was doing some extra work. That's why I'm saying they're doing a lot of promo work. So I don't see them doing a whole bunch of promo work just for Liv to lose it because kind of need Liv to have that title for this stuff, especially with Netflix promoting it. Thank you for all the likes. I forgot to say that, but thank you for all the likes. Um, let's see. Ava says she's like Roman Reigns, but Roman was a worker before he reached that part-time role. Yeah, that's true. Roman worked his ass off. He took a lot of stuff. Anybody remember him getting like dog food thrown on him when he's handcuffed to the ring post by Baron Corbin? Like he went through that stuff. He was Big Dog Roman Reigns, but he went through a whole bunch of ass and trash before he could get to the tribal chief character. So that's why I give him a lot of grace when it comes to like I didn't like him always winning the same way with interruptions and stuff like that. But he gets a lot of grace from me just because he went through that like really terrible booking period where Vic McMahon didn't want to turn him heel or evolve his character. They had Roman Reigns was in the same position like Cena, where Vince McMahon thought that any kind of reaction was a good reaction. So if the crowd was split, it was fine. Notice we don't really get that crowd split anymore. And even though I talk about Rhea, she does get the face reaction. It's just that I don't think it's going to be sustainable to where they wanted it to be. But Roman Reigns, yet, he went through some horrible ass booking. So if he wants to be part time after dealing, with that and his leukemia and all that, perfectly fine. I had no problem with him being part time. I just didn't like him being part time with the title because I had a problem with Brock Lesnar being part time with the title. You need to have somebody there. You know, he needed to show up at least more when he had the title. Now that he doesn't, he can show up whenever. I have no problem with that. But when you have the title, I would want him to show up with the title. It's kind of like how Logan Paul would disappear with the United States title for a while. Like, if you're gonna give somebody a title, he needs to show up with it regularly. He doesn't have to show up on every SmackDown or every Raw, but he needs to show up. So, but Roman Reigns, I have no problem with him being part time. Rhea, if you're active or you're going for a title and you're still not showing up, not doing anything, not wrestling or anything like that, it's really odd and weird to me. Ricola says Rhea's not too big. She's not like Roman Reigns. I'm not sure if it's an ego thing. I think it's just really Triple H's booking, and I still think that he's trying to correct what he did with China. That's just a personal opinion mine. Like he's trying to correct how he treated China, but still, you can't give Rhea that favorable booking. Like Rhea should not be the only one being able to wail on guys like Dom, where they can't fight back. When China was being able to get hit by guys, I know there's sponsorships now that prevent all that, but China took licks. If you're gonna do like the whole China thing with Rhea, where you can eventually maybe get her a male title or something like that, she's got to do the China thing and take those hits. She's got to do the China thing, and she's got to show vulnerability. When Eddie was with China, and he flipped his shit after he got caught cheating, we got to see a vulnerable China. That's what needed to happen. We needed that vulnerable moment. Now, if you're not going to have Dom yell at Rhea like Eddie yelled at China after the cheating, Rhea still needed to have that vulnerable moment. Just because she's all jacked to the gills and has muscles and she has a physique doesn't mean that she couldn't cry and have vulnerable moments. And that's what's missing from the storyline. Like we get one little moment of sadness, and then all of a sudden she's like taking care. He was a child, even though he's been with two. He was with you for 2 years. He was a child. Like so, okay, you tolerated Dom. That's that walking contradiction thing too. Like you treated Dom like a child, but then now that he broke free from you, you're saying that you want to make fun of him for being that child. You want to say that he's little and doesn't go deep enough. But again, that's a self burn because you were with him for 2 years. Like make it make sense. You're owning yourself. I mean, I get that you're hurt, but you're taking a tax dog for things that you tolerated and you probably enjoyed for these past years. It's like the chicken tender slut comment that a lot of people said that that's really not a burn because he has that T-shirt. He has the chicken tender. He has the chicken tender slut T-shirt. He's worn it. We've seen it, and it's probably an in joke to that, but that's really not a burn. I mean, and again, how come you can get away with calling Dom that piece of okay? Take chicken tenders out of it. Calling him a slut. He's only been with like two women that we know of, Liv and Rhea. You know that doesn't jive well with a face like character. Yeah, you can have an edgy character like Stone Cold and even Cena, and they can do the edgy things, but again, that's not really a face like moment of characterization. He's only been with two girls, unless he was running around with a whole bunch of other girls in NXT, and it's really possible because I kind of wanted him to have that. Like, if he wanted to set Dom up like that, you could just say that he was having a time of his life in NXT when he was down there for the North American title. That'd have been fine with me. But when you only have Dom be with Liv and Rhea, Slut is just like is way harsh for that character, even though people can't understand why women would go for him. He's only been with two women, on camera wise. Why would you call him a slut? And then now people are kind of turning that whole comment around, like, hey, I'm a chicken tender slut. I'm, chicken tender slap, you know. So it's not even the right kind of a burn for Rhea. And that's again too, like you're still pulling Dom into this mess. You're supposed to be focusing on getting this title that you supposedly want and you never lost and yada yada yada, you're still focusing on Dom. And that's who gets Dom. Then Dom gets blamed for the women's division being centered around him when he hasn't even really been involved with the division until what, this past week after Saturday Night Main Event. Saturday Night Main Event and Monday Night Raw were the only two times where Dom was able to show up and be at ringside or walking with Rhea to, not Rhea, but Liv to the ring for her matches. That was like the only time in like a couple of months. And then with Rhea doing that, it just shifted focus now of people saying, well, this belt is circling around Dom. It's not. It's Rhea bringing Dom's name back into it when she should be focusing on the title. Rhea brings Dom back into it. Dom wasn't even really mentioning anything. It was Liv and Raquel that were holding down the women's division. Dom was off doing his own thing with Finn, and Liv was off doing her own thing. So it's not, the title is not circling around Dom. It's Rhea that keeps bringing Dom into it, and I guess maybe that'll be her downfall for June. Why do I keep saying June? Maybe that'll be her downfall for this Netflix premiere. You know, you're still focused on Dom and still focused on trying to hurt Dom when the man doesn't even pay you attention. It's like, I think maybe what they're trying to go for. Like Dom, he does not interact with her. He doesn't like anything on the line. He doesn't do any of that. No interaction. Even when it comes to like when Rhea is there, he's not. He's barely like acknowledging her presence. Dom has moved on. Dom ain't doing nothing. But here comes Rhea, and I guess maybe they can pull that. You know, maybe she finally gets distracted one more time with Dom, and it cost her. But like I said, it's always Rhea bringing up Dom. Dom is not a fixated point in the women's division. And even if he was, I really don't get that argument because anybody's boyfriend or girlfriend would be around the title. Like if Dom had a title now and Liv was around, you wouldn't be saying that Liv is the center of whatever title Dom has. You know, it's really reductive to say that the title is around Dom when it's not like, you know, if you're boyfriend and girlfriend in kayfabe, you know, you're going to be around them. You know, you're not going to be separated all the time. But it is what it is. Ricola says Dom pulled the rug from under Rhea. Yeah, him, Dom leaving Rhea and Damian left them floundering because they don't have nobody to bounce off of. I don't think Triple H really thought it through, like how the Terror Twins would be interacting. I think they kind of put them together thinking that they would, you know, bounce off and then they'll get the face run, but it it failed. Dom held everything together. You know, everything works through Dom. It's like with Finn. Like Finn is getting more interest now through this potential feud with Dom than he is with Damian. His feud with Damian is dead in the water, but everybody's looking forward towards the feud with Dom. That's the more interesting feud, and I think they're realizing now that, you know, they pulled Dom and they pulled all that, and there's no more support, or at least no more collaboration where they can bounce off of each other and be in different places where they need to be. Because now Rhea is stuck in a women's division. Damian is just floundering. I don't know what they're going to do with Damian. Like, you never know what kind of feud he could have after Finn. Like, what is he going to do? Who is his, you know, next person that he can fight? I can't even think about anybody. Like, it's like you better hope that Finn and Damian have a good feud or something like that. Because Damian has nothing. Ricola says, poor Damian, they're pulling up, trying to revive the Vikings. Reviving the Vikings had to help him out. Yeah. Like now you're gonna throw Viking Raiders in with Damian now. I guess they can go war chants on that. Like Like, his character needs to be retooled. I'm not sure what they can do with Damian, but it needs to be retooled some kind of way. Let's see. Senor says, do you want to see a triple threat at WrestleMania 41 between Damian, Finn, and Dom? I don't know what I want for Dom. I think I want him to have some sort of title. I think he needs to have a title even between now and WrestleMania. And then after WrestleMania, he needs to have Money in the Bank. I'm not sure. I mean, you could maybe accumulate a match between Dom and Finn for WrestleMania, maybe. But I just know I want him to have a title. I'm not sure if feud with Finn can stretch all the way to WrestleMania. I can still see like Dom taking on like John Cena or somebody like that. But I think he needs something. He needs a title between now and then he needs like to have a really good match at WrestleMania. Mostly to make up for this past WrestleMania because that one was kind of trash with how they set that one up. Ava says Dom wants to go to the IC US title. He should have been in that Finn with Damian the World Championship picture. Well, he could have, but I think they're using it wrong. And I think now with Gunther, he just made Gunther look a little bit more interesting. Where now people wanted to see him kind of win it, and where he it looks like people want him more to have the World Heavyweight title than the IC. And they shouldn't have did that. It should have been like Dom was the one that should have taken the Intercontinental title from Jay to put a bow on that storyline. You know, have Bloodline interfere, team with Bloodline, have Dom win the IC after that, and then let Braun Breaker go to the World Heavyweight title. But it seems like they just did so much stuff backwards. They had moved Dom into the World Championship, and then they moved it back down to IC. But then if you didn't do the World Championship, we have this nice, interesting feud with Finn and Dom. So it's like a double-edged sword going on here. Senor said JD stayed dressed up as Santa. It was hilarious. Yeah, I think JD can pull off a Santa. I need to see that for tomorrow. That probably is hilarious. Ricola said Liv Dom has become a fun. That JD becomes Dom. Now Liv Dom will tell with them. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's like a faction. We have La Familia within Judgment Day. But like I said, I don't think they're breaking that faction up. They might. I mean, it just depends on what Triple H does, because Triple H loves his factions, and factions make it a lot easier for other people to get over. So you kind of need the factions, though. Let's see. Dang, that looks like place. Come on, hold on. Okay, Bricola says, you see Rhea try to revive that whole Jey Uso romance. I'm not even sure why they did that, because that really made Rhea look bad. She had the nerve to call what she did with Jey tactical flirting. Ma'am, tactical flirting is still flirting, and it's still at best emotionally cheating when Dawn was still with you. Dom was not nowhere near Liv at this particular point. Now you can retcon and say that he was, but he was nowhere near Liv television wise. So you were getting away with Jay way before Dom was even thinking about Liv. And then you're getting it's kinda like you're just trying to use Jay to I guess get over Dom, but still I mean, this is somebody you were messing around with before Dom, so like, okay, like why should I care about you getting with Jay? Because I mean, why should I care about your heartbreak if you already have Jay on layaway? Like, why are you trying to go back with Jay? Jay is busy. I'd rather have Jay go on, and I wanted Jay to do some more single stuff, but I don't want Jay to be nowhere near Rhea's vortex. She needs to be off on her own. Let Jay go with Bloodline, where he can build back up and be main event Jay, and he can leave Rhea alone. He doesn't need to be in Rhea's vortex and suck. Because, like I said, that just makes Rhea look bad. I mean, if you're going to be mad at Dom for cheating on Rhea with Liv, then you need to have some of that same energy for when Rhea was flirting with Jay. And no, she was not being a honeypot like a lot of people like to say. The minute she was flirting with Jay after Jay kicked Dom's head off, and then there were times where Jay would be beating up Dom and she didn't do anything. Like, compare what Rhea was doing with Dom compared to Liv now. There would be no like if something was going on with Dom, Liv would at least be showing the appropriate reaction, like when Damian was beating up on Dom. She would be showing the right reaction for Dom, like where she'd be concerned for his safety and his well being. Rhea did none of that. Let's see. Ooh, Marcus Penis says 4.3 million. Is that for the live? I mean, not the live, for that video? If it is, that sounds about right. So thank you, Marcus Phoenix, for that. Ecolo says Netflix got big plans for Dom and Liv. Yeah, they're just blasted all over the place. That's gonna be their moneymaker. They know how popular it is, and Netflix wants to get on that social. It's kind of like how Rhea and Dom were, but with Dom and Liv, it's a lot more now. You have that social machine. People are interested. You're getting millions of views, thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. Roman gets those views too. Bloodline stuff gets views too, but Dom and Liv brings in those views too. And Dom and Liv bring in a different demographic. That's a demographic that Netflix wants. So you're gonna have to have plans for them because it brings in that demographic. Because that Liz has to keep that title for a good while. I think she will. I think she at least gets that to WrestleMania. I'm not sure if she carries it through WrestleMania, but I think she needs to go on a pretty good run with it. And then after that, she can drop it. You know, if we're gonna give Rhea, I mean, I want Liv to be able to defend against a couple more people before she drops it. I don't want her reign just to be completely swallowed up by Rhea. She deserves to have other people to defend the title against and work against. And I'd rather her keep it for a little bit, defend, and then she can drop it. And with Liv, she will be fine because she's actually done other storylines without titles. It's not like with Rhea. Rhea needs a title, but she shouldn't need a title because she's so popular. But Leah would be fine after she's had a lengthy reign here. Let's see. Ricola says Dom did the right thing, turning on Rhea. Yep. She wanted to keep her as a pet. Yep. That's why Becky mad at Rhea because she was the one to bring Dom into the title matches. Yeah, see, it's like how people were getting after Liv for, well, she always needs help. She can't live clean. Since when has a heel needed to win clean? I will never understand that argument. Well, Liv needs to win clean. No, she don't. She's a heel. Rhea didn't win clean. She didn't win clean against Natty. She didn't win clean against Raquel. She was using Dom's help for matches. She was using her, and when she wasn't the champion, she was using his help with Asuka and other people. Lyra. It's not like Rhea was this clean. She was winning clean all the time. I still don't get the argument that Liv needed to win. Having start winning clean matches. Gunther wasn't even winning clean when he was Intercontinental Champion. He wasn't winning clean. Roman was not winning clean. Logan Paul wasn't winning clean. None of these people were winning clean. The heel on heel side. Shinsuke right now he's not winning clean. So why is it that Liv needed to have a clean wins and not have interference? She's a heel. Heel's gonna use interference. Heels are gonna cheat. That's what a heel does. Because of Dom ignoring her at all. Yeah. I mean, he's ignoring her, and it's been Rhea that keeps dragging him in. Some people say that this is just maybe the setup where Dom can get a riptide, but to me, a riptide is too little, too late because first of all, he's been beaten up. He's been gotten his ass beat. He's been hitting with kendo sticks. For him to get a riptide now just seems like overkill and too little, too late. Because if you wanted him to get a riptide, he should have been having Dom avoid getting beat by Rhea. So when it does happen, it makes sense. But now she's already beating his ass up. Like, what's the point of? It's like the same. It's like how people are rumored to have this match between Rhea and Dom. Like, what would be the point of a match between Rhea and Dom? She's already beating them up. It'll just be redundant unless Dom is trying to fight her honor. But Dom does not need to be in a position where he can get a critical hit on his character wise, where it ruins his character, where he can't hit a woman, or it gets hit character wise, like what happened to Mark Merrow when it came to Sable. if anybody remembers that. Like, I don't want that for Dom. He shouldn't be having to have a match where it can really affect his potential as a wrestler and a character. She's already gotten her licks in with Dom. Let that be. If she still wants to be distracted by Dom, okay, fine. But you can let Dom get his little revenge or something. Let him be distracted one more time, and that's it. Like, she needs to get off of Dom. Pretty much get off of Dom's dick right now. Ricola says Dom is going to cause that match for that disrespect. Yeah, I kind of want it to be clean, but I don't think it's going to be clean because they got to give some kind of protection for Rhea. Because, like I said, nothing with Rhea is clean. They don't want to give her a clean pin for the right reason. Meanwhile, Bianca, everybody else can give pins up cleanly. Bianca, Bailey, Becky. Like, Bailey gave a clean win to Chelsea. Will we see that with Rhea? I think so. And it says Dominik River. When life gets real tough, you gotta live a little. Am I right? I like that. Ricola says Liv does not play about Dom. She doesn't. Like, you can see her mood changes whenever Rhea brings up Dom, and I like that. I like that she sets herself in, or she focuses when Dom is mentioned, and I like that about her. Like, she don't play. User says, I mean, Dom is not the bad guy last year, but Rhea was flirting with Jay, and Dom felt it's heartbreaking. Yeah, see, that's that history. We see that. Like, we saw Rhea flirt with Jay. So shouldn't the Michael Cole comment been like, I was warning Dom about Rhea? Like, we saw that Cole was calling Rhea the witchy girlfriend. Cole was saying Dom was being manipulated by Rhea. Cole was the one, and then all of a sudden now it flipped because Rhea's the good girl, the face, and then Cole was even trying to say that Liv was manipulating Dom. I was like, first of all, y'all are emasculating Dom as fuck because you're making it like Dom can't make any kind of decision on his own. But to say that Liv manipulated Dom was a stretch because I was like, I'm not seeing Liv beat up on Dom like Rhea did. At any point, Dom could have pushed Liv away, and he didn't. People never take that into consideration. People always wanted to say, well, she's getting in his personal space. She could have pushed her off at any time. If Liv continued to pursue it after he did that, that's another story. But he never did that. And he constantly stayed around Liv, too. In the build-up from April to SummerSlam, he was always in Liv's orbit. So you can't say that Liv was being manipulated when Dom himself was putting himself in Liv's orbit too. Like, Dom wasn't the one getting beat up on by Liv. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Picola says Liv and Dom coming so close with each other, all that touching stuff on each other is turning. Christy, didn't Dom take the hotel key too? He did. Dom was gone during the main event. People always wanted to say that about Finn. Oh, he took the key, but Dom was missing during the main event. After Finn took the key, Dom was missing. Like, go back and watch that whole Raw. Dom was missing, and then nobody brought it up. I mean, it kind of got brought up next week where Carlito said that Dom left his vest in Liv's hotel room. So Carlito noticed. And Carlito, during that time, was the truth sayer. Carlito always told the truth. So when he said Dom left his vest in Liv's hotel room, he was telling that was 99% chance that he was telling the truth. So yeah, Finn took the key, but Dom was missing during the main event when everybody else showed up. And then the next week, Carlito said Dom left his vest in Liv's hotel room. And people still always wanted to say, and it's like the WWE, you have your storytelling, but sometimes you still need to put things out there on TV to verify stuff, and they really need to verify a lot of stuff. They need to verify that, to me, this is what they needed to verify. They needed to verify that Dom helped Liv set up Rhea to get attacked. They need to verify that Liv and Dom have been planning this stuff for way longer than we think. We need to They needed to verify that Dom did take the hotel key and saw Liv. He did leave his vest in Liv's hotel room. They did hook up in Mexico, even though that's really obvious that they did. But you know, they just needed to verify stuff, and we never did get that. That's what needed to happen after SummerSlam. All of that stuff needs to get verified. They met up in Mexico. They hooked up in the locker room. They hooked up in the locker room during the draft. They set up Rhea to get attacked. Uh, Dom took the hotel key. Dom left his vest. That all needs to come out, but we never got that. User says just they ain't bad guys, also no leader, but Rhea and Dame are also the boss of around. Yeah, they always wanted to say no leaders, but they always wanted to be the leader. And that's what Finn is doing too. Finn is doing what Rhea and Damian did before him, but it's going to backfire because Dom ain't taking that shit no more. I mean, he had to deal with it because Damian, and Rhea were Terror Twins, and then that's your personal safety that you got to think about. But now, when it's just Finn, I think Dom has grown enough and matured enough, and he's character-wise is grown enough where he doesn't want to take it anymore. And that's why there's so much conflict with Finn. He's not just going to roll over and let Finn say he's the de facto leader like he would with Rhea and Damian. Marcus Vita said Dom loved the attention from Liv. That's why Dom never pushed her away. That was an obvious thing. We had a lot of people saying, "Oh," and people. It's like how people now still want to say that Dom's a double agent. I'm like, what kind of double agent do you want Dom to be, where he pretty much had his tongue down Liv's throat, or Rhea could see it? Like, why do you want Dom back with Rhea? If they want Dom back with Rhea, they want him back in that pet role so she can look good. Because, like I said, without Dom, Rhea's missing a lot. But you can't put Dom back with her. If she needs somebody, she needs to go find somebody else. Like go mentor Tiffany. Go mentor somebody else. Go do something. But you can't have Dom anymore. That ship has sailed. They've gone. He's grown, and I don't think even if they did come back together, that relationship needs to be really radically different than it is now. It can't be like it was. And I think that is it. Yeah, Christy said Dom shows a lot of affection towards Liv, especially if she hurts. Yeah. And user says Rhea needs to apologize to Dom. See, that could at least show some kind of growth with her, with just showing, just acknowledging what she did. Like, she doesn't even necessarily need to apologize, but she needs to acknowledge what she's done, and she hasn't done that. Acknowledge that, hey, I didn't treat Dom the best way. Hey, I hurt Liv horribly when I turned on her for Edge. Just acknowledging is just bare minimum, and that can at least show on some growth. But yeah, Christy, Dom does show a lot of affection towards Liv, especially if she's hurt. He does show a lot of affection, and I like that. I actually like the affection. That's what made Rhea and Dom so popular. But then they got it into their heads that I guess Rhea didn't need that anymore, and it fell off. But now look at where she's at now. I mean, but the thing with Liv and Dom is that they're two different characters, and they bounce off of each other, and it's not this one's dominating the other. They're on an equal relationship. So now that when they're apart and they come back together, we're still seeing an equal relationship, and nobody's just really dominating it and taking all. They're not sucking up all the attention, and they're not sucking up all the time from each other. Liv gives Dom affection, Dom gives Liv attention. Let's see. User says, Jay took Dom's girl last year, alright? They were flirting. I will never understand why that never got addressed. Like, y'all can rag on Dom for cheating, but y'all brush what Rhea did with Jay under the rug. It's still wrong. You still flirted. That wasn't a honeypot. You flirted. That wasn't tactical flirting or whatever they tried to come up with. Like, what kind of terminology is tactical flirting? Just say it. Say it with your whole chest. I flirted with Jay. That's what you did. Chris said, I think Rhea is focused on Dom due to the affection because he's more masculine with her. Yeah, Dom is more masculine with Liv. And it's something that's needed because he needed to break out of that pet sub role that he had with with Rhea. He had to rehab his inner image a little bit, and Liv allowed him to do that. But so yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm glad y'all are here to help me test. I'm gonna see if this goes. If it goes well, I'm gonna put this up on YouTube tomorrow to have something there because this is like a whole hour worth of stuff. Holy crap! But I want to see how this does. Um, I will be back tomorrow to talk. Well, today later on, I'll be back to discuss Monday Night Raw. I want to see what they do with Monday Night Raw. I want to see. I need to see like Dom start getting really really technical with Finn some more. So hopefully we get to see that, and then get some more set up for the next Raw, and then the January 16th Raw. But bye for now, y'all. Glad y'all joined me. Thanks for tuning in to the Wrestling Receipts podcast. Remember to follow me on the X at WMaven, WWE, and on TikTok at WriterMaven for more wrestling insights and live reactions every Monday night after Raw. Until next time, I'm just saying.